The Meres and Mosses is a wetland landscape of international importance. The area is part of an extensive, gently undulating, low-lying plain shaped during the last ice age. Meres are like lakes where water has filled up large holes left behind by the melting blocks of ice. Mosses, however, are wet depressions where the sphagnum moss has grown over and built up slowly in peat-forming layers. The Shropshire, Llangollen and Montgomery canals are notable man-made features of the area, and along with the small market towns and villages add to its heritage. Much of the area is rural. The land is fertile and there are many farms and large historical estates. Most of the farming is a mixture of arable, dairy and poultry farming. Like many small areas, self-employment is relatively high. There are many micro and small businesses, including those associated with the food industry. Small industrial units provide employment, including haulage, engineering works and aluminium processing. However, many people travel to work in surrounding towns. We've been asking people who live, work and play in the area to tell us why they think it's so special and what should be protected. How might we better balance the needs of business, agriculture and environment in this landscape for the future? Initially, we talked to more than 230 people to get a general idea of the elements of life and nature here that they valued most. We've also spoken with industry leaders and specialists who gave us their professional perspective on the environment, the rural economy and agriculture in the area. And then followed this up with in-depth workshops with over 100 people. At the workshops, we took a virtual tour. The Meres and Mosses Nature Improvement Area is outlined in red. Google Earth was a tool to help us explore the landscape and big issues holistically and also to focus in more detail on specific local assets, opportunities and challenges. There are many types of sites recognised for being important, like sites of special scientific interest, Ramsar sites with international recognition, local nature reserves, etc. However, the official boundary of these often does not include the whole functioning unit of a recognised site. This might be the bowl of water a peat body sits in, for example. Of course, this water comes from rainfall that runs across the surrounding land to feed these sites. As you can see, it's essential for us to work together with many people who influence the wider landscape in order to preserve these key sites. This is why we began our dialogue with local people. Here is a sample of the issues we talked about and the views we heard, some spoken by participants themselves. We are going to need to produce more food as global population rises. Farmers need to increase productivity while adapting to the challenge of climate change. However, over the last decade, farmers have become suppliers of a more or less global food market. Farming is also becoming more technical, allowing the maximum production on appropriate land, while marginal land can be left as habitat. Although in the Meres and Mosses, not all farmers are aware of the special ecological nature of the area. Farmers can't change where they farm, and they're hugely affected by government policy, global markets and supply chains over which they have little or no control. This means that many outside factors tend to affect the landscape which do not necessarily reflect local issues.
Small farms can't compete in the market anymore, and we are farming in a global economy.
There's been much concern in the 1980s about the loss of the countryside character, loss of wildlife habitats and landscape to the changes in agriculture. And then the countryside stewardship came along around about early 1990s, and there's been increases ever since. And now it's all changed again. People say we've gone back a bit. You know, the conservation has lost out a bit to the agricultural payments.
There are strong dairy and poultry businesses in the area which provides a stable industry to engage with. Harper Adams, Reese Heath and other colleges do a lot of great agri-environment work locally.
The farmer of the past and of tomorrow will always be a steward to land. Lives will be devoted, countless hours will be devoted to the land to maintain it in some form or another, because it's a business but also it's a livelihood.
It's not just a case of we go in the field, we plant the seed, we dig up the potatoes next year. It's a case of we have to make sure the soil's absolutely perfect for them. We have to make sure that the hedgerows are in order, or all this sort of jobs that we then do intertwines with conservation.
So it is very important that we do have a balance between nature and humanity.
The Mears and Mosses landscape is rural, it's quite fragmented and relatively underpopulated. There are 4 quite small market towns in the area, but these are isolated from one another with main transport links tending to run north and south rather than east-west between them.
It's a big commuter town, so obviously Whitchurch, people travel to Chester, Telford, Shrewsbury, even out to Manchester and Liverpool and things like that because it's obviously cheaper to live here and commute.
There are fewer opportunities for young people in terms of jobs, education and housing. Without some of the infrastructure to provide more employment, they'll leave, and problems arising as a result of an ageing population will become more of a challenge for the area.
No, there isn't very much accommodation in the area. There's a small hotel and a couple of bed and breakfasts, but not a great deal, no.
The Mears and Mosses are a forgotten mosaic of wetlands. There are over 200 mears and mosses, or pools and bogs, and 13,000 hectares of peat deposits. Over 2,000 hectares are designated as Ramsar sites of international importance. Despite these international as well as national and local designations, there's been a steady decline in habitats and species over the past 50 years. 94% of lowland raised peat bogs have been destroyed through drainage for agriculture, fuel, horticultural peat and forestry. The remaining sites are generally declining. Species of plant and animal are becoming extinct due to inappropriate management, neglect and poor water quality. There's a significant gap between the value and status of the habitats and nature given to the area by conservationists compared to that given by other groups such as landowners, residents and visitors. If communities and businesses do not understand that their landscape is one of special importance, then there is unlikely to be a groundswell of support to protect it.
International scientists realise now that they're very, very special. The Mears are very special. And I didn't realise how important they were and how, protected they are. More conversations are needed really to get people involved in looking after them, protecting the Mears.
So a lot of houses and a lot of properties in the countryside have to have septic tanks. They don't have main sewage. And it's very important that you don't use chemicals. Otherwise your septic tank doesn't work. It kills the bacteria that should be working and breaking down all the stuff that goes into it.
You can see that this is one special landscape and it's connected by water. Water connects us all. We need clean water for drinking and an abundance of water for our agriculture. Water is not held by boundaries, and poor management in one place can badly affect another, through flooding and pollution, for example. Here are some examples of how thinking about issues in terms of the bigger picture, a resilient, sustainable landscape, has led to some positive opportunities for everyone involved. Working with the Mears and Mosses team, one farmer's carried out a wet grassland improvements. By digging shallow swales, he's improved management of the water on the field, reducing the runoff and allowing sediments to settle on field. This also provides an excellent home for winter wading birds. He's also improved the yard runoff down a track into the pond and a field. This has made daily life easier for the farmer, invested in the infrastructure of his farm, and again reduces the amount of runoff entering the river system. All these measures have allowed him to increase his agri-environment payments. They've made his business more resilient by improving his chances of achieving Red Tractor or a similar mark and increasing his likelihood of gaining supermarket contracts. The water quality has been improved, preventing runoff, both for the local river and as a resource to use on farm. Green infrastructure and other natural services contribute to our health and well-being and support jobs in sectors such as tourism, hospitality and leisure. If the value of green space is embraced as part of the planning process, then healthier, happier communities will also grow. Ellesmere has adopted a green infrastructure plan to help guide planning in the area as the town expands. If businesses and new developments are conscious of how water is managed and then runoff is reduced, preventing flooding, water can be kept cleaner by natural processes, keeping water bills low, and help to add to a region in which it will be desirable to live, work and visit with fewer social and health issues for the future. Fens Wixwell and Bettisfield mosses were saved from destruction in the 1990s. Now they're being re-wetted and are home to some of the rarest species on Earth. The mosses are becoming more and more recognised by people who wish to travel to the area to witness some of these things. There's a strong link with universities who send many students each year to train in environmental disciplines. The site was used as a donor for the scarce white-faced darter dragonfly to be reintroduced to the Delamere forest where the species was lost. School groups visit the site to experience a truly wild place. The mosses also are functioning once more to capture carbon out to the atmosphere, slow down rain runoff and clean the water as it passes through the peat, helping to replenish aquifers and reduce costs for water companies and us all. The message coming strongly from people we talked to was that the public needs to better understand, protect and enhance the value of this special landscape and its modern rural culture.
I think what we've learnt is we've confirmed some of our suspicions, and that is that the Meres and Mosses as an important landscape wasn't terribly well understood by local people. But that aside, people recognise it's tremendously valuable and want to do whatever needs to be done to protect it. But it's not just protecting those rare and wonderful species that we nature conservationists get very excited about. It's about some of the more fundamental issues in the landscape, like water. We need the right quantity, we need the right quality of water, and Meres and Mosses can play a vital role in providing that for everybody. The nature improvement area has been it's been a tryout. We've been trying out new ideas, and I think what it's showing us is we can't carry on as we have been doing, and people are saying that to us. And I think what we're realising is we've all got to think differently, we've got to think bigger, but we've got to be much more inclusive as well. It's got to be something that involves everybody.
The other message that we've got is we need real change. People have really stepped up to the mark for us, I guess, and really supported us and said, you're doing the right thing, but do more of it and do it quicker. And we just need to make sure that we balance the need for real change with not doing it too quickly and making sure there are no adverse effects. This is really now very obviously about all of us. We've all got a part to play, and I think together is definitely stronger. What people have told us, and what we would agree with, is that if we can get that big voice together, if we can show people that the communities and businesses and other sectors involved in the Meres and Mosses landscape care about what happens and care about what comes next, then we can be that big voice and we can lobby and we can make the changes that we need to make in order to have a sustainable future in this landscape.
Each of us has a part to play in securing the future of the Meres and Mosses region to ensure it continues to provide us with the services upon which we all depend.
If we're involving everybody, that means we're working in partnerships, and those partnerships have to get bigger, better, smarter. And those partnerships have to be the people who've always been involved, like the nature conservation organisations, but also we've got to involve business. So a lot of business in the area, a lot of farms in the area. If we don't involve organisations like that, we are doomed to failure. Inclusivity is the way forward.
People are telling us we all need to be better informed about the key role of water. People want more information to be available and decisions to be more joined up and transparent.
It's very, very important that the countryside is promoted to people, especially when there's positive work being done. The farming community will always be behind a project, but you will only get them behind a project if they're aware of it.
The Meres and Mosses Landscape Partnership Scheme and Nature Improvement Area would like to thank everyone who's participated in the conversation so far. We will use your views to guide us in our future planning. It's not too late to get involved. To achieve the balance we need to keep talking. In fact, the conversation's only just beginning. You can still contribute on the Meres and Me page of our website. Farmers can apply for our farm grants. Businesses can join the Business Environment Network. Communities can apply for a community grant, and individuals can visit the special sites, join a conservation charity, volunteer with us, or just be a little bit more conscious of what you put down the drain. Why not find out more and get in touch? themeresandmosses.co.uk. Phone 01743 284 280 or email info@themeresandmosses.co.uk. You can follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook too.